It's Philly versus Dallas. Again, that's all that needs to be said. Let's talk about it here next on Cowboy Spit.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3 Week 12. Dallas versus Philly. Get them at home this time. First game of the season. A game that a lot of people in the Cowboy circle, a lot of people, just Cowboy fans in general, feel like they should have won. Maybe a couple of drop passes away from walking out of the first game of the season 1-0. Vice walking out 0-1. It's going to be a tough one in Cowboy news today. Kyer Elam was waived by the Dallas Cowboys, and Malik Davis was brought up to the regular roster. In his place, Kyer Elam had a tough go at it. Tough go at it. And he, maybe it was, playing in a system that he wasn't comfortable in. I'm not sure. But his time with the Cowboys was not what I expected. He had a very good training camp, an excellent training camp, and it did not follow him into the regular season whatsoever. He had a very, very, very bad go at it here with the Cowboys, and they felt like the best thing for them to do was part ways with him. Former first-round draft pick, maybe he can catch on somewhere else. He wasn't doing very well in Buffalo, didn't do well here. Soon as Kalen Carson got healthy, they basically entered him into the starting lineup with Diggs being out and, said goodbye to their former first-round draft pick, Kyer Elam. So, wish you best of luck, but, yeah, it didn't go very well here in Dallas. But anyway, tomorrow, AT&T, 3:20 p.m., Dallas versus Philly. Philly's coming in with an 8-2 record. Dallas now at 4-5-1. Philly, and I'll break it down here in just a second, but Philly doesn't really do, especially on offense, they don't do anything spectacular. And on defense, their front four is very good, but, their secondary is kind of shaky. But one thing that the Philadelphia Eagles do very, very well, and they win football games. Doesn't matter how they do it. They grind it out. They'll air it out the best that they possibly can, as long as, Jalen Hurts is completing passes or throwing to A.J. Brown. We'll talk about that in a little bit, man. A.J. is not very happy in Philadelphia. But, maybe I've said it for a few weeks now that I feel like the Eagles are right on the verge of imploding. Wide receivers aren't happy with the quarterback. Quarterback has, to me, I think the quarterback has the perfect quarterback mentality. Like, he is super duper cool under fire all the time, and even with his teammates voicing their opinions and about not being happy without not getting the ball, it doesn't seem to faze him at all. And A.J. Brown's a hothead. We all know that, but he is a very, very good football player, and there are some opportunities that he may have tomorrow to kind of resurrect this offense and get it back right, and we'll talk about what the Cowboys need to do to prevent that from happening. But wouldn't it be perfect for them to come in here on Sunday afternoon in front of everybody and just absolutely pay him back for what happened week one? And the opportunity is there. It is there. Statistical leaders, Jalen Hurts with 1995 passing, Dak Prescott with 2587 passing. Saquon Barkley is really having for him, he's having a quiet year. Just a quiet, 662 yards rushing. Javonte Williams, surprisingly, 809 yards rushing for the Cowboys and the resurgence of the Cowboy running game. A lot of that has to do with the offensive line, and the offensive line is going to have their hands full tomorrow, especially dealing with these Eagles. Rushing touchdowns, Jalen Hurts has 6 touchdowns, probably 5.5 of them are tush pushes, and eight rushing touchdowns for Javonte Williams. Devontae Smith, 665 yards receiving. George Pickens with 908 yards receiving. And then Zach Burns leads with tackles. And Kenneth Murray still for the Cowboys. Receiving touchdowns for the Cowboys is George Pickens and Dallas Goedert. They both got 7. And Ojomo has 4 sacks for the Eagles, and James Houston has 5 sacks for the Cowboys. So you can see, like, there's nothing that's very spectacular that the Eagles do. And you see that they have the number 22 ranked offense and number 18th ranked defense. So everything is right there kind of in the middle of the pack. Cowboys have this number 3 offense and the number 30 defense, but it's not 32nd anymore. It's slow. It's trending upward, baby. Like we moving in the right direction. So there are things that the Cowboys can do tomorrow that can, one, improve their defensive performance for the year. You've got this new look Cowboy defense. You've got an all-pro defensive tackle in Quentin Williams. You just got some things going now that really, really, really can, man, Down Sports say the Eagles are going to play their best game tomorrow. And it's possible. And it's very possible. It is Dallas versus Philly. It's rivalry week. It's rivalry week. That didn't come out right. Rivalry week. I don't know what the hell that is. But rivalry week. It is Dallas versus Philly. It is by far the most heated matchup in the NFC East. They say, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Draw Whiteside. If you guys haven't liked and subscribed yet, please make sure you do so. I appreciate that, and thank you guys for tuning in. It's going to be a tough game. I don't know if they'll play the best game that they've played all week, all year, Mel, but we'll see. We'll see. Just to give you guys an idea, and I was very interested in these statistics this week, and I wanted to see the numbers for one, and then I found a graphic that was even better than this one that kind of broke down the rankings, and it'll kind of show you where good defense can make a huge difference in your outcome at the end of the football game. So the Cowboys have this high-powered offense is averaging 29.6 points a game. So basically 30 points a game, and Philly's averaging 23 points a game. Cowboys are averaging 258.7 yards passing a game. The Eagles are averaging 184. 115 yards rushing a game for the Eagles, 120 for the Cowboys. Points per game allowed for the defense, 20.1 for Philly, 29.3 for Dallas. So Dallas has just climbed that hump to where their defense is now not allowing more points than allowing more points than their offense is scoring. 212.7 yards a game for Philly in the air, allowing in the air 249.9 for Dallas's defense. That's what they allowed through the air. 114 rushing, 131 rushing for Dallas. So Dallas tried to shore that up and made some trades and went and got a linebacker and a defensive tackle, went and got an all-world defensive tackle. In the last game against the Raiders, it looked fantastic. It looked phenomenal. What can they do to change that around? Well, you play Philly and you had the same performance against Philly. That's what you can do. Well, I wanted to know what those numbers meant, and I wanted to know where they ranked in the NFL scheme of things and rankings in particular. So I found this graphic, and it kind of shows you where they rank. Offense, Philadelphia, 17th, Dallas, 2nd. Offensive yards per game, 25th and 3rd. First in passing yards in game, 12th in rushing yards in game, 12th in total time of possession, third down efficiency. The Cowboys and the Eagles are there's a difference. They're 7th in the league and 28th in the league. So I think I saw 28th in the league. My eyes not working for me tonight. But you see, well, there's a big disparity in defense in offense where the Cowboys are a better offensive team than Philly is. But if you go to defense, the numbers there is clear. You can see them. They are a much, much better defensive team than the Cowboys. And it doesn't really have anything to do with star players. It has with total team defense, them dominating the line of scrimmage for one. And as long as Jalen Carter doesn't spit at anybody this game, you'll get him back, and you'll have a dominant defender at your defensive tackle spot as well for Philadelphia. But there are so many differences in this game from the first game. Dallas, new look defense, seemed to be turning a corner, even though that corner was against the Raiders, and the Raiders have a lot of struggles this year. If there's a team that's probably struggling offensively and defensively, more than Dallas has this season, it's Las Vegas. But the one thing that I can say about the last game against a team that you were supposed to beat, a team that on paper you felt like you should dominate, they actually went out and dominated. And they haven't done that all season. And that is something that is positive, and I think that you can feed upon. There'll be a lot of emotion in the stadium tomorrow. This will be the first home game since the Marshawn Kneeland tragedy. There'll be I'm almost for certain that there'll be a pregame moment of silence and probably a tribute to Marshawn and possibly his family tomorrow. There'll be a lot of emotion in the stadium. And, how will the Cowboys respond to that emotion? That is yet to be seen. But I have a feeling that, if they can feed off of it, there are some opportunities to win this game. Eagles will come in like this. Jalen Hurts will be the quarterback. Saquon Barkley will be the running back. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith will be your wide receivers. Jahan Dotson will be your slot receiver. Dallas Goedert will be your starting tight end. Linemen are as follows. But there is one person on this offensive line, right tackle Lane Johnson, who will not be playing tomorrow. He's got a bad foot. And we'll talk about that in the injury report. Defense, they're all there, and they're all healthy, and they will all be in town, ready to play tomorrow. Jalen Carter, stay in the huddle and don't spit at anybody, and everything will be fine with that defense, and they'll be coming in at full tip. Dak Prescott, Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Ryan Flanoy, Jake Ferguson, and Hunter Lemke will be your offensive skill position players, and your offensive line is back healthy. You got everybody back. So no excuses. Tomorrow's the day. This road starts, and the road starts with Philly. Tough games from Philly down to the Chargers. 5 weeks of hell. It is not going to be easy. However, there are some little breaks that you get. You get a 10-day break after the Detroit game that'll really kind of set you up and give you a mini bye week that may get you pointed back in the right direction. But these are games that you must win. These are games that you have to win. And we'll see how it goes. Defensively, Donovan Ezraku's, Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams, Dante Fowler, Demarion Overshown. Welcome back, Demarion. He played very well last week. There was a couple of times, though, where I saw where he kind of overcommitted to maybe some play action passes where he was kind of slow dropping back into coverage. But as time goes on and the more game speed that he sees, he'll become accustomed to that again. And he looked well. I mean, he looked good. He moved around the field very well. Was in on a couple tackles. It was really good to see him back. Logan Wilson will be your starting middle linebacker. Kenneth Murray will start on the other outside linebacker. Deron Bland and Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, Kalen Carson, and Reddy Stewart will be your secondary for tomorrow. And they're going to have their hands full as long as the quarterback can get the opposing team the football. We'll go into the injury reports real quick. Dallas's injury report looks like this. Jadeveon Clowney will be questionable tomorrow. He was experiencing some knee pain, but it's just one of those things like where he was just limited in practice all week. I don't really think he'll have a hard time playing tomorrow. They did say it was a game time decision. They said that he'll wake up Saturday today, kind of move around on it a little bit, and then tomorrow they'll go in through pregame warm-up, see how he feels, and as long as he feels fine, he's going to go tomorrow. So Looking forward to having Jadeveon Clowney. Hakeem Adeniji is also questionable tomorrow. Same thing. I think he had a shoulder injury. It was nothing really major. Everybody else on there is out. So Wanye Thomas will be out, and everybody else that's on injury reserve. Did hear a little bit of chatter about Trayvon Diggs. So from what I understand, and this is my interpretation of it, is that they wanted to make sure that the team wants to make sure that Trayvon is 100% ready to go before they bring him back again, and made the comment that that's physically and mentally. So, hopefully it's sooner than later. It seems like the defense is playing pretty well, though. Kalen Carson had a pretty good game against the Raiders, but Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are not what the Raiders possessed, and it will be a totally different ball game tomorrow. Diggs obviously has some things going on that he needs to take care of off the field before he can come on the field and be effective. But we'll see how that all plays out. For the Eagles, Lane Johnson is the only one that'll be out tomorrow with the bad foot. Everybody else is on IR. And, the Eagles are pretty much locked and loaded and ready to play. But they will be missing, arguably the best offensive lineman in football. So we'll see how that goes for them as well. Now, let's talk about some of these keys of the game and these matchups that the Cowboys need to take advantage of. So, team key number one is establish your trenches from the jump. You absolutely need to dominate the offensive and the defensive line tomorrow in order to be effective against Philly. It's not going to be an easy task. The one thing that the Philadelphia Eagles do extremely well is control the line of scrimmage. And essentially, to me, that's how they win football games. Offensively, Saquon Barkley is definitely not having the year that he had last year, but their record is still 8-2. What is the deal with that? Well, it's all has to do with your offensive line. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dixon, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Snead, and then tomorrow it'll be Fred Johnson instead of Lane Johnson, instead of Lane Johnson. Those guys control the line of scrimmage. 2-3 yards. If you think about it like this, if a running back averages 3 yards per carry, that leaves you with 3rd and 1 every single time it gets to third down. If he carries the ball 3 times in a row and averages 3 yards a carry, it leaves you with a 3rd down and 1 yard to gain. And you push, get a first down, and you keep moving, right? And that's how they've been playing offense. Jalen Hurts statistically is not having this barn burner of a season, and his receivers are upset about it. Seems to be feeding Dallas Goedert the ball more than he's trying to get the ball to his outside receivers. However, I do think that there are some opportunities for their offense to take advantage of some things with the defense, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But the Cowboy offense must stay balanced in their attack. They must limit their 3 and outs, and they must give Dak clean pockets to throw. Now, with staying balanced in your attack, being able to run the ball from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, not becoming a one-dimensional offense, and how you not become a one-dimensional offense is don't get blown out. Keep yourself in the football game. Play with a lead. That is super important for tomorrow. That if you establish your run game and these play action passes, I feel super duper comfortable with the Dallas Cowboys skill position players versus the Eagles secondary. There is nobody that I don't feel comfortable with. Dory Jackson, any one of the wide receivers on the Cowboys, I feel comfortable with the matchup with that. With the safeties, Mabuka and Blankenship, I feel comfortable with Pickens and CD getting on top of them and making big plays. Quinn Mitchell is one of the best corners in the league. Whoever he matches up against is going to have a tough time. But you got 2 of them to choose from. You really got 3 because Flournoy, I think, has been playing phenomenal football. Whoever lines up in the slot will be manned up with Cooper DeJean. I feel comfortable with that matchup as well. There are matchups within this game that will give the Cowboy offense some favorable matchups to take advantage of. Now, you got to figure out what to do with this front 4. You got to figure out what to do with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Jalen Phillips, and Moro Jomo. Super duper duper good front 4. to me, Jordan Davis is probably playing the best football he's played since he's been in the NFL. There's always a thing, and I used to look at him and think maybe it was a gas tank thing. Maybe he ran out of energy quick. Maybe he was out of shape. Seems to be playing extremely good football. Jalen Carter is just Jalen Carter. He's dominant. He can do anything he basically wants, and you're going to have him tied up against possibly a rookie the entire game if he plays on top of Tyler Booker. Him and Tyler Smith have always been, every time they played each other, it's been a phenomenal matchup. Tyler Smith will win some, Jalen Carter will win some, and that's been a phenomenal matchup. But Tyler Booker has played really, really, really good football these last few weeks, and I look forward to seeing him matched up against a guy that he probably hasn't been matched up with anybody like this all season. Jalen Carter is that dude. He can mess your entire offensive up in the run game and the pass game. But on the flip side, the Cowboys have one of those too now. They do, and Quentin Williams. So let's go, Cowboys. Let's get the win because these boys, we own the Eagles, Giants, and the Commanders and other teams. We them Cowboys. Danny, boy, I love your enthusiasm, big dog. We going to need all of it tomorrow, baby, all of it. With the defense, linebackers have to fill holes and gaps and put their hat on Saquon Barkley. That's going to be important. It's also going to be important with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, if it doesn't look good in the secondary, he will absolutely tuck the ball and run. And mobile quarterbacks in the Dallas Cowboys do not mix. They have not done well against mobile quarterbacks probably since I was 15 years old. Anytime there's been a mobile quarterback within the last 10 years, they seem to do a pretty damn good job against the Cowboys, and that's something that you're going to have to fix. Luke Wilson with Cincinnati was a phenomenal spy. Let's see if they use him that way tomorrow. He's not the fastest dude in the world, but he is absolutely keen on reading the quarterback, seeing where he goes and making a read and going over there and at least getting his hands on him to slow him down and let the cavalry get there. He's very, very, very good at that. Cowboys didn't have that the last time they played him. But Jalen Hurts, other than a couple of first quarter runs, didn't do that much against them. Make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable. Got to get after Jalen Hurts. Easier said than done. But a lot of the Cowboy pressure last week came up the middle with Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams. That's where it came from. If you can continue to do that, I believe you have a really, really, really good opportunity to win this football game. Maybe make Jalen Hurts make some mistakes, put the ball in the air, and this Cowboy secondary may be able to come over with some turnovers. But you need to play more man coverage in zone. I will continue to say that until proven otherwise. You played a lot of zone coverage against the Raiders last week against some receivers that you can't name right now. You don't remember any wide receiver from the Raiders' name right now, but you absolutely know who A.J. Brown and who Devontae Smith is, and for obvious reasons, because they're exceptionally good. You cannot play 8 yards off these dudes and think that Jalen Hurts just won't catch the snap and get the ball to them and let them get yak all game long. It's a phenomenal game plan if the Cowboys present their defense the way that they presented their defense a lot this year. You absolutely cannot play your corners 8 yards off the ball and think you won't get quick hitched all night long. You can't play like that tomorrow. If you play like that tomorrow, it will be a very, very, very long afternoon. Very long. You've got to play more man than zone. Sure, the Cowboys haven't been that fantastic in man, but shit, they haven't been that fantastic in zone either. I would rather give Jalen Hurts some tight windows to throw to, and while he's uncomfortable, and give him some opportunities to throw some balls behind some receivers and some Cowboy defenders can make some plays. I feel comfortable with that. If you give him an offense to where he can just sit there with 8 yards off the ball and just take a 2-3 step drop and get rid of the ball, you don't have to worry about a pass rush because it's not going to get there because he's getting rid of the ball too quick. And he'll be getting rid of it to wide open receivers. You absolutely tomorrow have to play more man coverage than zone. You have to. You have to make this quarterback throw into some tight windows. You have to make this quarterback uncomfortable with your pass rush. If he's just able to take 3 steps back and get rid of the ball, your pass rush won't get home and you'll get your ass whooped. It's simple. Simple, simple, simple. If the Cowboys can protect the football, mix the run and the pass, Look for some big plays downfield because the Eagles are susceptible to big plays. This game, you should have this one in the bag. However, there's one thing that the Philadelphia Eagles do extremely well, and that's win. They win. They do that at a very high rate. Henceforth, they're 8-2 record. Played in a lot of close football games, but somehow, some way, Philadelphia will find out how to win a football game. They'll figure it out. Tomorrow, you need to leave no doubt. My prediction tomorrow is Philadelphia 24, Dallas 20. I don't think that they can figure it out. I don't. Strictly because I think they'll come out in a lot of zone coverage and they'll give Philly easy receptions and everybody will be happy on that Philly sideline and they'll start mixing run and pass and it'll be too much for the Dallas Cowboy offense to overcome. I just don't have faith in this dude. I don't. I have no faith in him. And that's why his seat is nuclear. It should be. It should be. It looked good last week, but it looked good last week against Geno Smith and the Raiders. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Matt Eberflus proves me wrong, and I'm like, okay, I retort my statement. You guys are really good defensively now. Because tomorrow you're going to have to be that. Philly is not a great offense. It's not this overpowering offense like it was last year. Matter of fact, it's pretty mediocre. Pretty middle-of-the-road offense. But middle-of-the-road offenses and mediocre quarterbacks this year, quarterbacks that have played mediocrely, have come into Dallas or played the Dallas Cowboys and been very, very successful. Danny says the Dallas Cowboys 43 and the Crying Eagles 10. Danny, I hope you're right. I hope you are. But I just don't see it. Not right now. I think there'll be a lot of emotion. I think the Cowboys will come out hot. But I think Philly will settle down and they'll establish their run game a little bit. And they'll start throwing these easy pitch and catches because the Cowboys will back off their coverage. That's just what I think they'll do. And it pains me to say that, but I can see it. I can see that more than the Cowboys just lining up and coming after Philly just relentlessly and making Jalen Hurts super duper uncomfortable. And then they start throwing a bunch of picks and then the score ends up the way that Danny just said, 42-10. I can see them playing zone coverage, playing off the ball, and just giving Jalen Hurts just quick hitches and quick slants and letting his receivers run after catch. I can see that a lot. And then once they establish that, they'll establish a run game and just basically play keep away from the Cowboys. That's really the key to beating Dallas, is just keep the ball out of that high-powered offense's hands. That's the key to it. And how do you do that? Run the ball, mix of run and pass, look for some big plays down the field because you overcommit to the run. And then you put the Dallas Cowboy offense in a position where they feel like they have to throw the ball 55 times a game. And that's how you beat them. It's not rocket science. It's just basic football 101. You keep the high-powered offense on the sideline and they have a hard time scoring. And Philly is going to come in here and absolutely try to do that tomorrow. It's what they're going to try to do. But if the defense can stand tall, play similarly to what they played last week, force a couple of turnovers, make some things happen, then Dallas has a shot. But they haven't done that but once all season. And that once was against the Raiders. They did do it against Washington, but obviously Washington is a struggling football team in itself. They have to do it tomorrow. They have to. If they don't, it's just going to be a long afternoon. Or it could just be a shootout and, 41-40, you lose. Or you end up tying in overtime 40-40 or something crazy like that. But you got to establish yourself. Tomorrow it starts. You have to. If you look at the way their schedule is, it's all playoff teams from last year. You play the Super Bowl champions and the Super Bowl runner-up in back-to-back weeks in Philly and Kansas City. You play Kansas City on Thanksgiving Day, so you play them within a matter of 4 days. It's busy. It's busy. It's tough. And then you don't get a break after that. You got to go to Detroit. It's going to be tough. This 3 games is tough, but the next 3 games after that are pretty rough too. I would love it. Absolutely love it if they started this gauntlet out with a win. But history, and I'm going off the history of this season, has shown that their coordinator will put the defense in some precarious situations, and it'll be something that they can't get out of. And they'll lose the game just strictly because they're playing soft coverage and Jalen Hurts is just out there playing pitch and catch the wide open receivers. I don't really have a problem with the players. I got a problem with the coordinator. That's all it is. I think the trades for the players was phenomenal. I think that they'll have some opportunities tomorrow to come up with some plays. I think that they played a team last week where they made Geno Smith uncomfortable, but they made him uncomfortable because they were getting a relentless pass rush because the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line ain't that good. That's not the case with Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a very good offensive line, very good. And they do a lot of things well. And their quarterback hasn't been phenomenal all year, but he's been serviceable. And put it this way, Caleb Williams he'd been 10 times the quarterback he was in his entire career since he played the Dallas Cowboys. We've become a team that can get a quarterback back on track. And Jalen Hurts is off the track right now. And they're for nothing more than to get him back on track tomorrow afternoon. We'll see what we do to mess it up. Hopefully we can. But that guy right there, I just don't think that is possible. Not with him. Not with him. Maybe it'll change after the season is over with, but not tomorrow. But I hope I'm wrong. Hell, I've been wrong on every game this season. It's probably why I chose them to lose. Anywho, tomorrow, what we'll do is we will do the Sunday Blitz and the post-game show all wrapped up in one setting. I'll be producing the Sunday Blitz tomorrow, and it'll be right after the 3:25 game, which happens to be the Cowboys and the Eagles. So we'll go live right after the game. We'll go from the post game straight into the Sunday Blitz. We got some pretty cool topics to talk about tomorrow. We'll go over this season, the week in review, and then we'll get ready for the night game. And I don't even know who the night game is tomorrow. I haven't even been paying attention to it, to be honest with you. See who we got tomorrow. Oh, it's a good game too. You got Tampa and LA, the Rams. That's going to be a good game. So yeah, we'll get ready for that Tampa LA game. And yeah, man, I look forward to seeing each and every one of y'all tomorrow afternoon. You guys that are in the live, man, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Got a pretty big number here tonight. Got 36 in here. So thank you guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And we'll be here tomorrow, man. We're going to have a good time doing it. All right? Hopefully we'll be talking about old Cowboy C3 being wrong about his assessment of the game tomorrow. And I'm a man. I'll admit it when I'm wrong. I will. For sure. For sure, Danny. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're here tomorrow, man. We're going to celebrate this Cowboy win together. All right, y'all. Cowboy C3, man. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. All right, peace.